Welcome to English Bookshelf, where every book becomes a mirror and every story helps you rediscover yourself. Every morning starts with good intentions. You wake up thinking, today, I'll focus on what really matters. And then the day begins. Messages arrive. Notifications light up your phone. Emails demand attention. Small tasks quietly take over. And before you realize it, the day is gone. You were busy the whole time. But the one thing that truly mattered never happened. If this feels familiar, you're not careless. You're not lazy. You're just living in a world that is designed to steal your time, one distraction at a time. And this book begins right there. Make Time is written by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky, two former Google designers, people who helped build products that capture attention for a living. And that's what makes their message powerful. They're not outsiders criticizing technology. They are insiders who saw the problem up close. They realized something unsettling. If you don't decide what deserves your time, everything else will decide for you. This book is not about becoming faster or doing more. It is about slowing down and choosing better. It asks a simple but life-changing question. At the end of the day, what do you want to feel proud of? Not everything you did, just one thing. Jake and John noticed that modern life runs into modes. The busy bandwagon and the infinity pool. The busy bandwagon keeps you rushing. Meetings, tasks, deadlines, always moving, never finishing. The infinity pool keeps you scrolling. Endless content, videos, feeds, news. Together, they quietly drain your time, your energy, and your attention. The idea behind Make Time is simple. You don't need to fix your whole life. You just need to design one good day. Again and again. Not perfect days. Intentional days. Days where one thing matters most. They call this idea the highlight. A highlight is not your biggest goal and not your entire to-do list. It is one meaningful activity, one important task, one moment you want to protect. Something that, if completed, makes the day feel worth it. Think about it. At the end of most days, you remember very little. But on good days, there's usually one moment that stands out. A focused work session, a meaningful conversation, time spent creating or learning. Make Time is about creating space for that moment. On purpose, the authors remind us of something important. Time doesn't disappear. Attention does. You always have the same 24 hours. But your attention is constantly pulled away. So the real challenge is not time management. It is attention management. Instead of reacting all day, Make Time encourages you to choose your highlight early. Not when the day is already out of control. But at the beginning, you ask yourself, if today was successful, what would I be glad I made time for? That answer becomes your anchor. This idea sounds simple, but it changes everything. Because once you choose a highlight, you stop measuring the day by busyness. You measure it by meaning. But choosing a highlight is not enough. Because the world will still interrupt you. That's why the book talks about protecting focus. Not with strict rules, but with small, realistic changes. Turning off notifications. Creating quiet spaces. Changing when and how you use technology. Not quitting tech, but using it intentionally. The authors are very clear about one thing. They don't want you to become extreme. They want you to experiment. Try something today. See what works. Keep what helps. Drop what doesn't. This book respects real life. Jobs, families, responsibilities. It doesn't promise perfection. It promises progress. Ask yourself this. When was the last time you spent an uninterrupted hour on something meaningful? No phone, no multitasking, no pressure, just presence. If it feels rare, that's exactly why this book matters. Now let's talk about focus. Because choosing what matters is only half the battle. The real challenge is staying with it. Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky say something very honest. Distraction is not a character flaw. It is the result of a world that constantly pulls at you. Your phone, your laptop, your apps, they're not neutral tools. They are designed to capture attention. So if you feel distracted, it's not because you are weak. It's because the system is working exactly as planned. Make Time doesn't ask you to fight distraction with willpower, because willpower gets tired. Instead, it asks you to redesign your environment. Small changes that quietly protect your attention. Think about this. If your phone is always next to you, your brain is never fully present. Even when you don't touch it, a part of your attention stays alert. So the authors suggest simple experiments. Put the phone in another room. Turn off non-essential notifications. Log out of apps that pull you in. Not forever, just long enough to focus. They introduce the idea of slowing down the internet. Not quitting it, not hating it, just making it a little less fast, a little less addictive. Because when access is instant, distraction wins. But when there is a tiny bit of friction, you pause, and that pause gives you choice. Now here's something important. Focus is not about forcing your mind to concentrate. It's about removing the things that break concentration. Silence notifications. Close extra tabs. Create a clear starting point. Your brain wants to focus. It just needs help. The authors also talk about energy, because focus without energy doesn't last. If you are tired, hungry, or overstimulated, deep focus becomes impossible. So Make Time encourages taking care of your body. Sleep, movement, real breaks, not productivity hacks. Human basics. Think about your own energy. When during the day do you feel most alive, most clear, most capable of thinking? That is when your highlight deserves your attention, not when you are already exhausted. Another powerful idea in this book is about breaking the cycle of constant reaction. Instead of checking messages all day, batch them. Instead of responding instantly, respond intentionally. You don't owe your attention to everything. You owe it to what matters most. Ask yourself, what would happen if you didn't respond immediately? Would the world really collapse? Or would most things quietly wait? Often, they wait. Make Time is not about doing less forever. It's about creating space. Space to think. Space to create. Space to feel present. Because when your attention is scattered, your life feels scattered. Now let's talk about energy. Because focus does not live in your mind alone. It lives in your body too. You can choose the perfect highlight. You can block time. You can remove distractions. But if your energy is gone, your attention will collapse. Jake and John noticed something simple. Most of us treat our bodies like machines and then wonder why they stop working. Make Time gently brings us back to basics. Sleep, movement, food, light, silence, not as rules, but as support systems. Because a tired brain looks for easy comfort. And easy comfort usually means distraction. Think about your own day. On days when you sleep well, move a little, eat properly, isn't it easier to focus? And on days when you don't, doesn't everything feel harder? This is not coincidence. This is biology. The authors suggest small, realistic changes. A short walk instead of endless sitting. A moment of sunlight in the morning. Standing up when your mind feels stuck. Not to become perfect, but to wake your system up. Movement clears mental fog. Another powerful idea here is rhythm. Your brain loves patterns. If you start your day in chaos, your mind stays chaotic. But if you begin with intention, even something small, your whole day feels different. This is why Make Time encourages daily rituals, not strict routines. Simple signals. A cup of tea before deep work. The same quiet spot. A notebook opened to a blank page. These small actions tell your brain, now it's time to focus. Rituals remove decision fatigue. You don't argue with yourself. You don't negotiate. You just begin. And beginning is often the hardest part. The book also reminds us of something we've forgotten. Rest is not wasted time. When you stop working and truly disconnect, your mind processes, reflects, renews. But if your breaks are filled with scrolling, your brain never rests. It just switches noise. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you rested? Without a screen, no phone, no videos, no constant input, just quiet. That kind of rest is rare, but powerful. Make time is not trying to make you productive every second. It's trying to help you feel alive in your time. Because what's the point of being busy if you're never present? Here's an important shift this book offers. You don't need to control your whole life. You just need to design your day. One highlight, some protected focus, enough energy to show up. That's it. Most change doesn't come from dramatic decisions. It comes from small experiments. Trying something today, seeing how it feels, adjusting tomorrow. This approach removes pressure. You're not failing. You're learning. Now let's talk about the feeling that quietly follows us everywhere. The feeling of being behind. No matter how much you do, there's always more waiting, more messages, more tasks, more expectations. Jake and John say something freeing. The feeling of being behind is not reality. It's a story created by endless inputs, infinite feeds, never-ending to-do lists. When work never ends, your mind never rests. Make time asks you to question that story. What if you are not behind? What if you are just measuring success the wrong way? Most days, we judge ourselves by everything we didn't do, instead of the one thing that mattered. That mindset guarantees stress. This is why the highlight matters so much. When you choose one meaningful thing and protect time for it, the day already has a win. Even if everything else feels unfinished, you stop chasing perfection and start feeling progress. The authors explain that success is not about clearing your inbox. It's about doing work that aligns with your values. Inbox 0 can wait. Your life cannot. Another quiet but powerful idea in this book. You are allowed to care deeply about a few things. You don't have to care about everything. When you try to give attention to everything, everything gets shallow attention. But when you choose deliberately, what matters grows stronger. Think about this. If you had to choose just one thing today that deserved your best energy, what would it be? And what would you have to ignore to make space for it? That choice feels uncomfortable because it requires letting go. But letting go is what creates freedom. Make Time also talks about identity, not in big dramatic terms, but in daily behavior. When you protect your highlight, you become someone who respects your time. When you step away from endless scrolling, you become someone who values presence. Identity is built quietly, through repetition. The book reminds us, you don't need to win every day. You just need to show up with intention. Some days will be messy. Some days will fail. That doesn't erase progress. What matters is returning again and again. There's a gentle tone throughout this book. No guilt, no pressure, no rigid rules, just curiosity. What happens if I try this today? That question keeps change alive. Ask yourself, what if your days felt lighter? Not because you did less, but because you chose better. What if success felt calm instead of exhausting? That possibility is what Make Time offers. Now everything comes together. Make Time is not really about time at all. It's about how you want to live. Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky bring us to a simple truth. Your days are your life. And how you spend your days is how you spend your life. When you don't choose what matters, your attention is scattered. And when your attention is scattered, your life feels scattered. But when you choose one meaningful thing and protect time for it, something shifts. You feel calmer, more present, more satisfied. Not because life became easier, but because it became intentional. This book never asks you to escape responsibility. It asks you to stop reacting to everything. to stop letting urgency replace importance, to stop confusing motion with meaning. The idea of the highlight is powerful because it is human. It accepts that you cannot do everything, and it frees you from trying. You don't need a perfect day. You need a day with purpose. Make Time shows us that focus is not found. It is designed through small decisions, choosing when to check messages, choosing when to work deeply, choosing when to rest without guilt. Each choice sends a quiet message to yourself. My time matters. Energy supports focus. Focus creates meaning. Meaning brings satisfaction. This is the loop the book gently builds, not through pressure, but through awareness. There is also a deeper message here. You don't need to wait for someday. You don't need a different job, a different schedule, a different life. You can start today with one highlight, one protected hour, one moment of presence. Think about this. Years from now, you won't remember most emails. You won't remember most scrolling, but you will remember moments of focus, creation, connection. Those moments shape who you become. Make Time is not about doing less forever. It's about doing what matters first and letting the rest fall into place. If you feel constantly rushed, always behind, pulled in every direction, remember this. You don't need more time. You need more intention. So tomorrow morning, before the day begins, ask yourself quietly, what is the one thing that would make today feel meaningful? Choose it, protect it, and let everything else wait. If this story helped you slow down, if it helped you rethink your relationship with time, you can support this journey by liking the video, sharing your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to English Bookshelf for more calm, thoughtful stories like this. Because here on English Bookshelf, we don't chase time, we choose it.